Cold plunging has become incredibly popular, but a lot of people make certain mistakes that prevents them from getting all of the benefits out of their ice bath. So in this video, we're gonna talk about the 6 mistakes a lot of people make and how you can avoid them. And before we get into all of that, let me know, what cold plunge tub do you have? Do you like? Let me know brand and product. I'm super interested to hear. I have here right now the Energize Elite, which is one of my favorite tubs. It's inflatable. It has a very powerful chiller. It is fairly easy to maintain because some of those factors, and that's the reason why I mentioned them, are important to set you up for success and to help you avoid some of the mistakes that we're gonna cover in this video. And mistake number 1 is starting out too cold. I've seen this over and over again. My wife did it, her brother did it. A lot of the guests that we had over, that we invited, to cold plunge with us, have made that mistake of going into water that is too cold for what they can handle at that time. If you're a cold plunging newbie, if you're not super familiar with exposing yourself to freezing cold temperatures, then my recommendation is to start at a temperature that's uncomfortable but doable. There is no benefit into jumping into water that's at the freezing point, staying in for 10 seconds, freaking out, getting out, just to never do it again because you just completely lost it in there. So that's mistake number 1. Start at a reasonable temperature. That might be 55 degrees, it might be 50 degrees, that might be 45, depending on who you are and your experience with cold exposure. I'd rather start with something warmer and say, you know what, it hasn't been pleasant, but it was okay, it was good, I felt good getting out. And so you do it again, because consistency is another important factor. And actually that's the number 1 mistake that people make. They start something, they try to push to the limits, they start very cold, they maybe stay in way too long, and then they're not gonna do it again. You're not gonna get any benefits or very few benefits out of cold plunging once a month. You wanna do this consistently, especially in the beginning. You wanna do this ideally every single day or every other day, but on a very consistent basis, so your body gets used to it, becomes more resilient and stronger after all, because that's really one of the things why people cold plunge, to improve their resilience, their immunity, reduce inflammation. All of those things require consistency. And if you don't do that, then it's not even worth bothering. So again, choose a temperature that allows you to do it consistently, that keeps you motivated enough so you do it again tomorrow. Number 3 is hyperventilating. Once you get in, what a lot of people tend to do is, because their fight or flight response kicks in, they start hyperventilating. Breathing through the mouth, breathing rapidly. That's just gonna fuel your sympathetic response, your fight or flight response that makes you gonna get out at some point. So my recommendation is, instead of breathing through your mouth and breathing fast, to focus all of your energy, all of your mental effort into slowing down your breath and breathing only through your nose. If you do this, you activate the parasympathetic branch of your nervous system, which is the rest and digest response. And that capacity of learning how to do this, how to control your breath in a stressful situation, is ultimately what's going to help you then outside of the cold to better deal with stress and to reduce your stress and to improve your stress perception. So no hyperventilating, shut your mouth, breathe through your nose, and breathe slowly, as slow as you possibly can. Number 4 is to distract yourself, or to try to distract yourself. People say, oh, talk to me, or you scroll on your phone, on TikTok or whatever while they're in the cold plunge, instead of just focus on themselves, on their breathing, focus on what they're feeling. You don't want to distract yourself out of a challenging situation. You want to be able to master it, and that requires you to pay attention, to be present, to focus on your breathing is really my number 1 recommendation. If you focus only on your breathing, your brain is distracted from, it's in a way a distraction, but a good distraction, because that's a capacity that enables you then in everyday life to distract yourself from stress by focusing on your breath and by focusing on just how you feel. Most people don't even know how they feel, and so that's one key recommendation, is to not distract yourself with things that your body doesn't provide to you. Like focusing on breathing, I can do anywhere I am. I don't relying on your phone or on TikTok or on someone to talk to you. You're gonna be in situations in your life at some point where you don't have your phone to distract yourself, where you don't have a friend to talk to you, but your breath you always have. So focus on that. Next one is, a lot of people go into the cold plunge and they are into the belly button, or maybe to here. While that's maybe better than nothing, if you really want to get the benefits out of your cold water experience, out of your ice bath, you need to submerge yourself to your jawline ideally. easily. I mean, if you're more advanced, dunk your head, but at least coming up here. And the reason for that is there are a lot of nerves here and a lot of sensitive areas here. You might have noticed it if you take a cold shower. Cold shower on your chest, maybe on your head, maybe in your face is different than cold shower on your legs. Here, it feels significantly easier. So you want to get that stress response. You want to trigger that nerve that's only happening when you submerge yourself fully. And don't mean, cut your throat, but submerge yourself to your jawline. Go all in. If that means increasing the temperature of the water, so be it. That's better than very cold water submerged only to your boobs, And then last but not least is the wrong time. And we have a separate video on cold plunge timing, but there is such a thing as plunging at the wrong time. Jumping into ice cold water right before going to bed and staying in there for 10 minutes is likely going to negatively impact your ability to fall asleep. And so don't do that. Maybe cold plunging for extended periods at very cold temperatures right after weightlifting is going to negatively impact your muscle gains. We have a separate video on that as well. There is obviously nuance and context to all of that, but there is such a thing as less than ideal timing. Overall, of course, I recommend it's better to plunge whenever you have time than not plunging at all, because you say, oh, now is not the right time. Usually not the right time is more of a mental thing than, anything else. But nonetheless, there is such a thing as wrong time. But also the 6 reasons or the 6 mistakes people tend to make when they get into cold plunging. Let me know in the comments if you learned something. What is your favorite mistake? Maybe what is the mistake that you've made in the past? If you did, let me know in the comments. Like to hear from you. With that, we're gonna wrap it up. Quick shout out here to Energize. Very solid plunge, high performance chiller, allows you to dial the temperature into exactly what you want. Anywhere from, I think this one goes to the high 30s to 104 degrees if you want to turn this into a hot tub. So very nice equipment here that I like to use. With that, we're gonna wrap it up. Stick around, subscribe, send it to someone, this video to someone who could benefit. Until next time.